So you want a snorkel kit for your ATV and you don't want to spend a bunch of money, you want to make one yourself? I'm going to show you how I made mine. This is on a 2008 ArcticCat 500 TRV. And of course my story was I was going across a little river stream thing, hit a hole, man, the water went up over the headlights, quickly got sucked into the intake, flooded the engine, killed it. I had to get winched out, deal with all that, drying the spark plug, 45 minutes later, finally got everything started and running again. I thought, well, I'm never going to let that happen again. So I came home and got to thinking about how I would put a snorkel kit on it. So here's what I came up with. First of all, I took things apart to see what I was going to be up against. So I went to Lowe's and I bought me a couple of bags full of fittings because I didn't know exactly what I was going to need. So I just had me a truckload of fittings and I just knew I'd take back what I didn't use. And here's what I ended up using. I think these are called Street L's. This is 2-inch ABS plastic, and it fits perfectly in those rubber hoses from the factory. You can see, let me show down here. So that's the factory rubber hose, both of these. You can see them here where the clamps are. That's the rubber pipes from the factory. I just cut them off with a hacksaw blade and tied into my plastic snorkels. So I used four I think they're called Street L's maybe, and I used 4 90 degrees, and then just got me a section of pipe. Kind of did a dry run, put it together, and then glued it, and everything worked out perfect. That was a little tip I need to tell you about. After I first put this together, air intakes are very particular about how they're designed, ported, the air restrictions they create. So actually this was kind of creating like a ram effect. So it was actually giving the engine too much air. It was making it run lean. You don't want to have a lean engine. So I went in and you can see I made a little bit of a reducer. I took me a small piece of plastic pipe and you see it right there. And I put it in there. And of course I glued it in place so it can't get out. But it creates just enough restriction to get the air-fuel ratio just right. So that's one modification I had to do. But while I've been working on this, I got the wheels off. I was going to show you what I had to do to pull this off. Let me get my light here. All right, get some light on the subject. All right, so here, that's our original pipe. You see, so from the factory. Now this pipe, this satisfies the cooling of the belt because it has the variable speed belt in here. So the air, in case you don't know, I'll talk about this. The air comes, there's your air box right here. That's the intake for both the cooling of the belt in the engine and also for all the air that goes through the air filter and into the carburetor. So the pipe went here, went up over, came down here, goes into the engine. It's got a big fan in there that blows the air through. It comes out the back. Then if you notice, if you go back here, it continues to come here, up and over, and then down. Because if you start it up, you'll feel a nice cool air blowing out. And that's cooling that belt. So anyway, you know what that's for now. So going back to, good thing my LED bulb is in there. A regular bulb would have busted. Okay, so I eliminated this piece. And you can see here. Well, yeah, I also had to buy these clamps, those 2-inch spiral hose clamps. I bought 2 of those to get a good clamp on it. So that's where I attached it to. Because you can imagine it don't take much. Once you get water up this high, you're going to suck it right into your engine. So that's how I did this side. You got a good look at it. Let's go to the other side. You can see how I cut that pipe off. All right. And you can see where it used to connect was right here. And the same way, it just kind of ran right back in here. And you can see right where I cut it off at, right there, where it was. So pretty simple process. Didn't take too long, but made for a great addition. Another thing was a little tricky, but it worked out well, is cutting these holes. Getting it measured just right. And it made for a nice clean look. Just used a hole saw, because as I was doing this, let me get my light back in here. So as I was I was doing this, as I got that pipe in position, I kind of carefully measured the center position of it, where it would be, and then punched me a hole, and luckily it lined up, because you got some room to flex around a little bit, because you're dealing with that rubber piece. And that worked out well. And I have a luggage rack here, so I was able to put me a hose clamp on that. Makes for a nice sturdy fitting. It's been on there for a good long time, and it works great for me. So maybe this will give you some ideas for your ATV. You may not have the exact model, but keep in mind your air restriction. You know, you may tweak out your airflow. You may have to create a little bit of restriction if you notice it's running lean on you. Anyway, that should do it. Thanks for watching.